An elevator security camera. January 31st, 2013. Cecil Hotel, Los Angeles. A young woman steps inside. The door stays open, but she doesn't seem to notice. She presses all the floor buttons, one by one, systematically. Then she backs into the corner, hiding, as if someone's chasing her. The camera can barely see her there. She waits a few seconds, then peeks out, looking left and right. The hallway's empty, but she's not convinced. She steps back in, then out again. Her hands make strange gestures. She's talking to someone who isn't there. The elevator door still won't close, like it's waiting for her. She stands there longer, making hand movements, talking. Then she walks down the hallway and disappears. The door finally closes after she's gone. The video ends there, 4 minutes long. But millions watched it. Who is this woman? Why is she acting like this? Who's she running from? Who's she talking to? 19 days later, the answer came. But it wasn't the answer anyone expected. Elisa Lam was found in the hotel's rooftop water tank, dead, naked, floating in the water, and hotel guests had been drinking that water for 19 days, showering in it, without knowing. The Elisa Lam case started in 2013, but still debated 13 years later. Was it an accident, murder, or something else? Cecil Hotel, where serial killers stayed, where 16 people died, called America's Most Haunted Hotel. And Elisa died without solving the mystery of those 4 minutes in the elevator. Elisa Lam was 21 years old. She came from Vancouver, the city on Canada's west coast. She studied at the University of British Columbia. Bright student, social, enjoyed life. She blogged on Tumblr, posted fashion photos, shared quotes, wrote her thoughts. Her username was Nouvelle Nouveau, which meant new. She felt like someone starting fresh in life. In January 2013, she made a decision. She'd take a solo trip, California, starting in Santa Cruz, then Los Angeles, then San Diego. Alone. She was brave, her family worried, but Elisa insisted. She'd be fine, she said. But her family knew something. Elisa had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Sometimes she had intense energy, sometimes deep lows. She took medication, saw doctors regularly. It was under control, but her family still worried. Call every day, they'd said. We need to know you're okay. Elisa promised. She'd call every day. She arrived in Los Angeles on January 26, 2013. She chose Cecil Hotel. It was cheap, centrally located, perfect for backpackers. At first, she stayed in a shared room, hostel style. But after a few days, other guests complained. She's acting strange, they said, leaving weird notes on doors. It's unsettling. Hotel management moved Elisa to a private room, and she called her family every day. I'm fine, she'd say. Don't worry, I'm having a great time. January 31st, 2013 was a Thursday, Elisa's checkout day. She was supposed to leave, head to the next city, but that morning she didn't call her family. The afternoon passed, still no call. Evening came, still silence. Her family called the hotel. Is our daughter there? Hotel staff checked her room. Her belongings were there. Phone, suitcase, everything in place. But Elisa wasn't. She was gone. Cecil Hotel wasn't an ordinary place. Built in 1924, downtown Los Angeles, in an area called Skid Row. It was supposed to be luxury, but the neighborhood never became that. Economic depression hit, homelessness rose, crime increased. Cecil Hotel became cheap accommodation, and the deaths began. In the 1940s, people started jumping from windows. The suicide count got so high, they called it Suicide Hotel. In 1964, an elderly woman named Pigeon Goldie was found murdered in her room. Raped, killed. They caught the killer, but the hotel was already darkened. In 1984 and 1985, Richard Ramirez stayed at the hotel. The Night Stalker, serial killer who murdered 13 people. He rented a room on the 14th floor, went hunting at night, returned in the mornings, covered in blood, stripped in the lobby, took showers. Nobody suspected because the hotel was already that kind of place. Everyone was strange. In 1991, Jack Unterweger came, Austrian serial killer, came to Los Angeles as a journalist, said he was researching American crime, stayed at Cecil Hotel, and killed 3 prostitutes. Then returned to Austria, got caught, imprisoned, hanged himself in his cell. By 2013, 16 people had died at Cecil Hotel. Suicide, murder, overdose, accidents. The hotel had become a refuge for homeless people. Drug dealers walked the hallways. Nobody asked questions. People said the hotel was cursed, said there were ghosts, called it America's most haunted hotel. And on January 31st, 2013, Elisa Lam disappeared. Elisa's family flew to Los Angeles. Police began searching. LAPD, the Los Angeles Police Department, swept everywhere, including the hotel. 700 rooms checked. Every hallway, every floor, every open space examined. Elisa's room was searched. Her belongings were there, suitcase open, phone plugged into the charger. But Elisa wasn't. She wasn't anywhere. Police developed theories. Maybe she'd run away, left on her own. She had bipolar disorder. Maybe she was having a manic episode. Maybe someone took her. Maybe something happened to her. The search went on for days. The family was losing hope. On February 6, 2013, police made a decision. Maybe the public could help. They reviewed hotel security footage and found a video. Elevator camera. The last footage showing Elisa. January 31st, right before she disappeared. They uploaded the video online. Has anyone seen this woman? They asked. The video went viral within hours. Millions watched, but nobody had seen Elisa. Instead, everyone was talking about the video. Because the video wasn't just strange, it was disturbing. The video was 4 minutes long. Black and white footage, elevator camera perspective. Elisa enters the elevator. She looks calm, but then starts pressing all the floor buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, presses them all. Systematic, like there's a plan. Then she hides in the corner. The corner where the camera can't see well. Like she's hiding from someone. Someone's going to come, won't see her, the elevator will leave. But nobody comes. She waits a few seconds, then leans out, looks, left, right. The hallway's empty. She steps back in. But she's not comfortable, looks out again. The elevator door won't close, stays open. It should close normally, but it doesn't. Is it malfunctioning? Or did Elisa do something? Unknown. Elisa steps out, stands in the hallway, and starts making strange hand movements. Her fingers bend in odd ways, moving up and down. Like sign language, but not. Like a game, but not. She seems to be talking to someone invisible. We can't hear her, but her mouth is moving. She's telling someone something, but there's nobody there. She stands in front of the elevator longer, steps in, steps out, steps in, again. The door still won't close. Finally, she walks down the hallway and disappears. And the elevator door closes only after she's gone, like it was waiting for her. The video ends. The internet went crazy. Millions watched. Hundreds of thousands commented. People paused and replayed the video, analyzed every frame. "There's a shadow in the background," they said. "Elisa's terrified. She's running from someone," they said. "This is paranormal," they said. But nobody found Elisa. The video only created more questions, and days kept passing. Days turned to weeks. Weeks to 19 days. Elisa was still missing. The family was desperate. Police were desperate. And guests at Cecil Hotel started noticing things. "The water pressure's really low," someone said. "Showering's almost impossible." "The water tastes strange," another said. "Bitter, metallic." "The colors darkened," said a third. "Kind of brownish." Some said they smelled a bad odor. Some said their stomachs were upset. February 19th, 2013 was a Tuesday. A maintenance worker went to the roof. He'd checked the water tanks. Maybe a pipe was clogged. Maybe there was a problem. There were 4 large water tanks on the roof. Each held 1,000 gallons, about 3,800 liters. All the hotel's water came from here. He checked the first tank. Normal. Second tank, normal. Third tank, the lid was open, slightly ajar, not fully closed. Strange. The lids should always be closed. He approached, looked inside, and saw something. Something floating in the water. Looked closer. A human body. He called 911. His hands were shaking. Police came. Fire department came. They drained the tank. Took hours. The body was removed. It was Elisa Lam. She was naked. Her clothes were in the tank, floating in the water. Her body was decomposed, had been in the water 19 days, and hotel guests had been drinking that water for 19 days, showering in it, brushing their teeth with it, cooking with it, the water where Elisa's body had been. Elisa had been found, but now there were new questions. How had this happened? How had she gotten there? The roof door was locked. There was an alarm system. If someone opened it, it should sound. How had Elisa passed through? Police investigated. The door wasn't always locked. Maintenance was poor. Security wasn't taken seriously. The alarm sometimes didn't work. Maybe Elisa was lucky or unlucky. The door was open that night. Okay, she'd gotten to the roof. But the tank lid? It was very heavy, hard to open alone, but not impossible. Elisa had somehow opened it. The tank was 3 meters high. The lid was on top. How had she climbed up? There was a ladder nearby. Maybe she'd used it. Difficult, but possible. But why was she naked? Why were her clothes in the tank? There was one theory, something called paradoxical undressing. In hypothermia, the body feels like it's heating up, removes clothing. But the water wasn't cold. That theory didn't fit. Another theory, manic episode. In bipolar disorder, sometimes a person acts irrationally. Confusion. She might have removed her clothes. No reason, but she did. And the biggest question, was she alone? Did someone help? Or did she do it all by herself? An autopsy was performed. Results came in. Cause of death, drowning. Drowned in water. No trauma, no assault marks, no sexual assault, no drugs, no alcohol. But there was one thing. Bipolar medications. Blood levels were low. She hadn't taken them regularly, maybe took them one day, skipped another. Levels were inconsistent. The coroner made the decision. Accidental drowning. Bipolar disorder may have contributed, so the official explanation, accident. Elisa had a manic episode, went to the roof, got in the tank, couldn't get out, drowned. Police closed the case. It was solved. But the internet didn't believe it. The official explanation was accident. But nobody believed it. because there were too many unexplained details, because the elevator video looked too strange, because people wanted mystery. The internet created theories. The first theory was the official one: accident. Elisa had a bipolar episode, wasn't taking medications regularly. Manic state, meaning excessive energy and confusion. Went to the roof, got in the tank, couldn't get out, drowned. Tragic, but an accident. Evidence supported this. Bipolar diagnosis, medication levels low, no murder evidence in autopsy. But people objected. The tank lid's too heavy, they said. Why was she exactly naked, they said. In the elevator video, she looked like she was running from someone, they said. Second theory, murder. Someone had followed Elisa. She was running in the elevator. Got caught, killed, placed in the tank. They showed the elevator video as evidence. Look, she's running, they said. Reminded everyone of Cecil Hotel's dark past. Found her being found naked suspicious. But police couldn't find murder evidence. There was no trauma in the autopsy. Opening the tank lid and placing the body would be difficult, and Elisa could have gotten into the tank alone. Third theory, paranormal. Cecil Hotel was cursed. There were ghosts. Elisa saw a ghost in the elevator. Supernatural forces led her to the tank. Evidence, Cecil Hotel's haunted reputation. Invisible entity in elevator video. Strange hand gestures. But there was no paranormal evidence. Ghosts aren't scientifically provable. The bipolar explanation made more sense. Fourth theory, elevator game. There was an urban legend in Korean and Japanese culture. Ritual. You press specific buttons in specific order in an elevator, you enter the other world. Was Elisa performing the ritual? She'd pressed all the buttons, was acting strange. The internet loved this theory. But the ritual sequence didn't match. A manic episode made more sense. Fifth theory, conspiracy. At the same time, there was a tuberculosis outbreak in Los Angeles. And an interesting coincidence, the TB test was called Lam Elisa. Elisa's Tumblr username was Nouvelle Nouveau. Illuminati? Government experiment? Completely absurd. Coincidence? Paranoia. The most logical explanation. Accident. Tragic, simple, but an accident. But the mystery continued because people don't like simple answers. They want mystery. They want drama. Elisa's family was devastated. Her body was taken to Vancouver. Funeral was held. The family stayed away from media, returned to their private lives. They wanted to grieve alone. They sued Cecil Hotel. Security was inadequate, they said. The roof door should have been locked. The alarm should have worked. They settled out of court, amount undisclosed. The hotel improved water tank security, installed locks, fixed alarms, but it was too late. In 2017, Cecil Hotel rebranded, became Stay on Main, tried to escape its dark past. But it didn't work. Same year it closed for renovations, plans to convert to homeless housing but remained controversial. In 2021, Netflix released a documentary. Crime Scene, The Cecil Hotel. 4-part series. Told Elisa's case, Cecil Hotel's history. Interest exploded again. Millions watched, but the documentary was criticized. It glorifies web sleuths, they said. It exploits the family's pain, they said. Because the Elisa Lam case was one where internet detectives were at their worst. People played amateur detective from their homes, analyzed the video, created theories, and accused innocent people. There was a metal musician named Pablo Vergara. He'd performed near Cecil Hotel around when Elisa disappeared, posted on social media. Internet detectives declared him a suspect. He killed her, they said. The evidence is clear, they said. Pablo's life was ruined. Received death threats, couldn't leave his house, lost his job. In the end, he was innocent, had nothing to do with it. But the internet never apologized. The Elisa Lam case showed the dangers of internet detective culture. People trying to help could cause harm. But the case did one more thing. Created mental health awareness. Elisa's bipolar disorder got people talking. Medications must be taken regularly. There shouldn't be stigma. Support matters. It was a tragic death, but at least it left a lesson. From 2013 to 2026. 13 years passed. The Elisa Lam case is still debated. The elevator videos still viral. Over 30 million views on YouTube, thousands of analysis videos, active threads on Reddit, featured in true crime podcasts. Why? Because this case has everything. Mystery, viral video, creepy details, seems unsolved but is actually solved. Because the truth is probably very simple. Tragic accident. Elisa had a bipolar episode, didn't take her medications, had manic confusion, went to the roof, got in the tank, couldn't get out, drowned. Simple, but boring. People don't want boring answers. They want mystery, they want drama. Some questions remain unanswered. Why exactly did she act that way in the elevator video? What exactly did she see, feel? How exactly did she open the tank lid? Why exactly was she naked? But these questions can be explained by a bipolar episode, irrational behavior, confusion, even hallucinations. Cecil Hotel's fate is uncertain. In 2026, it's still controversial. Whether it's open or closed isn't clear. But the dark legacy continues. Elisa's family has returned to private life. 13 years have passed, but the pain continues. They lost their daughter, and the world still debates her death. But at least two lessons remain. First, mental health matters. Bipolar disorder is serious. Medication must be taken regularly. Support is essential. There shouldn't be stigma. Second, internet detective work is dangerous. You can cause harm while trying to help. You can accuse innocent people. Ethics matter. Elisa Lam was 21 years old, had a bright future, was traveling, living her dreams, and lost her life in a tragic accident. 13 years later, she hasn't been forgotten. Never will be, but maybe the way she's remembered should change. Not as a mystery, but as a mental health tragedy. Not as an unsolved case, but as a solved but tragic accident.